Hey y'all, out here at B Router Customs, and they set up an interview for me today with a guy that I think is pretty cool. This is not a political channel, but the Knox County Mayor, Tim Burchett, he's got a little Karmann Ghia he's had, I think, most of his life actually, and it's a real nice car. And you know, as busy as he is, he still gave me time to meet me out here today to tell me a little bit about it. So I'm excited to do it. Let me run him down and have him tell us about his car. Tim, how are you, brother?
Hey, I'm great, Scotty. Thanks for asking.
Good. Tell me a little bit about your hot rod.
Well, it's a 1969 Karmann Ghia convertible. It was my graduation present from high school, believe it or not. It's my very first car, and a lot of people, you know, their first car was a station wagon or something. I just happened to have very cool mama and daddy. We're both in heaven now, but they gave me a lot of great memories. But this along with one or two other small things, this is my prized possession.
Right.
You know, I'm more tickled about this every day.
Now tell me, you're being from the South, right? Born and raised in this area.
Born and raised in Knoxville, Tennessee. I grew up here and went to school here and went to UT, and it was the best 6 years of my life, undergraduate. That's pretty tough to do when you do not smoke pot or drink. It still took me 6 years. My daddy was dean of student conduct, so you know, of course he's an old Marine, fought in the Second World War. And
so you fought a few things in your life, huh?
Do what?
So you tried to swim against stream a little bit?
Yeah, my whole life I'm a Don Quixote, I guess. I've swung for the fence. I'm a flagrant fence swinger. I swing for the fence. There's you know, like Ricky Bobby says, either first or last. And I've lost a lot, but I've won a few too. And I'm the Knox County Mayor.
Right.
I spent 16 years in our Tennessee General Assembly or state legislature. I spent 4 years in the House and 12 years in the Senate, and then I came home and I've run for county mayor, and we won with 85% in the primary and 89% in the general. But who's counting?
That's right. Yeah, who's bragging about that, right?
Yeah.
Just stating the numbers.
I have great people that have helped me. I've got some great volunteers. We usually get overspent, but we're never outworked. But anyway.
Anyways, my original question to that was, I got a politician here, folks, so I got to keep him real in.
Sorry, keep you focused.
Right. My original question was, being born and raised in the South, you should have been looking at a 70 Camaro or a 55 Chevy.
Well, you say, if you're in East Tennessee, you say Camaro. But you know, my brother had a 68. He had a 68 Camaro. It was gold. Let's see, it was metal flake gold. All right. And it was sweet. But you know, I was kind of always into the original stuff. I loved restoring stuff, and for some reason this, you know, we. And Volkswagens, you know, they're kind of on the, they're not really the status car or whatever.
That's what I'm saying. What made you decide that a Volkswagen was what you...
Well, when Daddy came home from the war, he came home in 40, let's see, the war was over in 45, and he went to China a short while and fought the communists. And he came home in 46, and then he raised a lot of Hades, and he bought an Indian motorcycle. He bought him a Indian Chief, a seafoam blue, and he would drive it around and court my mama. And then finally mama said one day, he called her and said, pick me up at the bus station. And he's like, she thought that was kind of odd. And what Daddy had done was sold his Indian motorcycle to buy my mama her wedding ring. And shortly after Daddy died, I was able to purchase an Indian Chief, a 48 seafoam blue Indian Chief. It's all original, and I've got it in my...
It's not the original one he had, but
no,
like
I don't know. I doubt it is.
Yeah.
I'd say Daddy probably rode it. The wheels fell off, but
right.
You know, it's all original. Still has original paint on it and stuff. You know, and so I just dig that old stuff, man.
Sure.
You can't engineer that stuff into it. No.
They won't let you.
No, well, fuel injection, all that kind of ruins it. When I ride, you know, I ride on a lot of these rides, and I remember a local Harley dealer called me because I was riding my old Triumph chopper at the time, and you know, you put a gallon of gas and a quart of oil in it, basically. It was kind of put up a smoke screen behind me, you know, and they said, hey Mayor, since we're sponsoring this, we'd sort of like you to ride one of our newer bikes, you know. And I was like, well, that's cool, you know. And I get down there and I'm looking around for the choke and all that. Of course, I was sort of more or less playing a joke on them. And then they said, well, you know, Mayor, all you got to do is just punch that button right there and it starts up. And I was like, you mean this one? And you know, and
it's too easy though, right?
Yeah, it's like riding a lazy boy recliner.
Right.
But I like to fight him a little bit. I like the old one. You know, I have an old panhead with the suicide shift. Of course, the Indian has a suicide shift. It's on the opposite side, so I'm gonna have to get a little used to that. I'm gonna have to switch around. But I always say you test drive one of those in a field of foam rubber.
Yeah, that's the best. That's the best thing to do.
I've never laid one over, so here lately. So, but anyway, I like riding the old stuff, and I've never much gotten into any of the newfangled things. And Daddy, I was going to say, Daddy after the Second World War, he was a mechanic, and you know, he had all these oddball stuff. He had Crosleys and things like that, and of course Studebakers and Fords and Chevys like everybody else. And he was a gearhead, and he fixed up stuff, old bikes and stuff. But he got into Volkswagens because he could get them really cheap, and not a lot of people around here would work on them. So he could get one really cheap in the 50s, and so and naturally a Karmann Ghia is sort of the upscale of the VWs, and
right.
And we'd always liked them, and this one was I graduated from Bearden High School in 1982, and this is this 1969 convertible. And I remember the day I got it. I remember I was upstairs, and Mom and Daddy said, "Hey, we haven't got anything for your graduation, and we got you something." And I looked out in the driveway, and I mean, I just like, what in the world?
Yeah.
I mean, of course, it was ratted out. The floorboard was a little rusty. I mean, you know, you're in college. I was getting ready to go to college, and or just graduating from high school, and I mean, man, you know, we had 4 or 5 people in it at all times. People loved this car, and we'd have a great time with it. And of course, I was
So you didn't fix it up? You just drove it to where it was?
Heck no, man. Actually, I put $500 and bought a new motor. I mean, I'm sorry, not a new motor. We rebuilt the original motor, and I was just saving up, and I'd get a gasket kit. And you know, when you try to do one like that, you never do it right.
Right.
You got to just do it all at once. People will do it as I drive. Well, it gets a little, you know.
You never catch up.
You do not ever catch up. You got to just take it down and go. Well, and in 1982, I remember that because that was the year of the World's Fair, and I graduated from high school. But as I went to college, I remember I was down on Neyland Drive one morning, and it had started raining, and an 18-wheeler stopped in front of me, and the brake lights lit up, and so I tapped my brakes, and I hydroplaned, and I went headlong into a guardrail. And of course, the Karmann Ghia is unibody, which means it's all one piece, except for the doors and the hood. And I spun completely around, and I tore off every corner, all my bumpers, everything. I think one door wasn't creased, and I was sick about it. And I bit my lip, and I bled all over my. And I remembered I'd ironed my khakis that morning because that's what the sorority girls liked, and there was this sweet little AO pie in my 750 in the morning English class. If you know anything about me, there had to be something.
I was getting ready to say that guaranteed you got there on time, right?
Anyway, so and I always get there and sit in the first desk, because she would come in late, and I would try to. And of course, you know, she was from Nashville, and you know, kind of, I guess. She was out of my league, as they say.
Yeah.
And there again, swinging.
You were swinging for the fences.
Once again, and obviously I struck out on that one multiple times. Took her to a Bob Seger concert. Apparently sorority girls don't like Bob Seger.
Really? I can't imagine that.
I love the Silver Bullet Band.
I'm telling you.
Bob Seger was awesome. And it turned out, as I was in the legislature, my landlord down in Nashville, he was a roadie, or he's a rigger for Bob. He was I went to a bunch of concerts that he was the rigger for, as it turned out, as I come to find out. But anyway, so I wrecked it, bit my lip, bled all over my khakis, and you know, and I had a speech impediment for about 2 weeks, and so that didn't do me any good with that.
You probably told her you got into a fight with some gang member or something.
I think everybody knew I'd bashed up my car, because my face was, when you spun around like that, I'd hit the steering wheel. I had my seatbelt on. Of course, those old lap belts, they just keep you from projecting out of the car. But anyway, and so I was heartbroken about it, and I parked it. My parents were cool. I parked it in the backyard, and then over the course of about 20 years, I would buy parts. You know, I'd see something, a Karmann Ghia, I'd go hear about one in the junkyard, and I'd go get a piece of chrome or whatever. And that was back before the internet, of course. And you know, and I had offers to sell it and part it out, and I never did. But it ended up just rusting bad. And matter of fact, the day we loaded it up to bring it here to PJ's shop, it actually broke in half, completely in half. But
he was impressed with that when you rolled in.
yeah, well, he just see dollar signs. He can fix anything. And also you can't pay too much, just pay too early on a classic car. But like I said, it was more than that. When my parents bought it for me, my parents are very cool, good Christian, hardworking people. And like I said, they're in heaven now. But they, I had just a great relationship with them, and for them to just buy something like this, and I think they paid about $1,200 for it.
Wow.
But at the time, my parents owed me maybe about a little more than half that amount of money they borrowed from me, because they were public educators, and I was a freeloader living at home, and I detailed cars, I mowed yards and did everything, and so I no overhead living at home, and then and so I just said, look, let's call it even.
Right.
I was so tickled to get this car. But anyway, and then PJ, 10 years later, PJ, he went to work on it, and I bought other cars to. Actually, PJ and I went to Nashville one time to buy a car just to get the bumpers, because the bumpers were, now there's a company that replicates them in stainless of all things, but you couldn't find bumpers.
Right.
And I bought the car just to get the bumpers, and then we sold the car. I made money on the deal, but they had magazines and all this VW stuff, and I ended up getting the bumpers, the proper bumpers, 1969 bumpers, that went on, and this was the last year of this style of bumpers. So, I can tell you all about it.
Tell me.
Last year. Now, the first years, what they call the low lights, from 55 to 59. Technically, they didn't make them until 56, but in 55, they put out a couple of hundred. They put out at car shows, and I actually have a 55 Karmann Ghia. It's the earliest known Karmann Ghia in North America.
No kidding.
Yeah, but it's a rare. It's a rare car of common parts. I mean, it's a Karmann Ghia.
Right.
It has these very little small lights, and the headlights go down. But these are, I think, some of the coolest tail lights, because it flows with the body. And later they put the big clunker things on.
Oh, okay.
And it's got the bumpers. It's a clean bumper. And on the early European ones, they just had these two right here, Euro they call it. And they don't have the overriders. And of course, it's the standard VW motor.
What motor does it have in it?
Let's see. I believe it would. I don't believe it's a 60. I think it's a 1500 cc. So it's probably about what some of these kids have in their electric seat motors.
Right.
It's funny. People pull up next to you and want to race you, and I yell at them and say, "Hey man, you got electric seats in that car?" And they go, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, your motor in your seats is bigger than the motor in my car." A lot of kids don't ever see it. They think it's a speed.
What is it, about 80 horse or something?
No, it's probably more like 45 or 50.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Is this thing safe to drive on the road then?
Oh yeah, you get on it. I mean, it weighs 1,988 pounds, something like that.
Right.
And of course, it has the little bullets in the front for the blinkers. That's the last year for them. It's a combination of things, and it's the first year for the
gas cap.
Gas that pops up right there. No, that's the hood. My bad.
That's all right. We won't see under there anyhow.
Yeah, I'll show you that. I don't think I got the spare. Spare goes right here.
Well, that's safe to put the gas tank right up there in front.
Yeah, well, actually, when I wrecked it, it's got some dirt in here. I guess I should have cleaned it up.
Yeah, you're right.
But we drive it.
Yeah.
So, spare goes right there. Let's see here. It's been a while since there you go.
You would think that the Germans wouldn't think about putting a gas cap in the front bumper.
Yeah. And that's, it's pretty standard stuff for the VW. I mean, it's kind of cool. I love that.
Yeah.
A lot of the customizers, they'll weld that up.
Right.
I like it. I think it's cool. And it's got, and this one, the 69 and a half, the later 69 has the glass back window.
Okay.
The early 69 and back has a plastic.
Right.
And it gets all hazy.
Yeah. No, glass is the way to go.
Glass is the way to go. Let me see here.
Yeah, let's look under here. Yeah. The bonnet.
The bonnet. Yeah.
That's right. Let's look under the bonnet. Is it what, a 4-speed, a 3-speed?
4-speed.
Yeah.
And they made an automatic. They call it a Sportomatic, but I'm not a fan. And this is the way it's supposed to look stock, except I've got a no leak battery.
Right.
Which I went that route on.
What's clean up under here though?
Yeah, it's just It's just standard. That's an oil bath filter, which is kind of cool.
Oh, no kidding.
You don't
it's
see
69.
Yeah, you don't see much of those.
Well, you do, but they're usually in 40s.
Yeah. And of course, you clean that out because it'll suck in a moth or something every now and then. But it's all pretty straightforward. I mean, points and condensers. Just a simple, I think it's a Bendex carb. And you know, it takes 4 quarts of oil. And here's your. You got to be careful if you're not. Sometimes people leave their
that's a dipstick.
the dipstick up, and it'll get into there.
Wow.
It'll get into your fan belt.
That's the whole motor, though.
That's not it. Like 4-cylinder. It's a horizontal flat. Dr. Burchett designed it. Interestingly enough, you know, we've got the new Porsche factory down in Chattanooga. I mean, sorry, the new Volkswagen factory in Chattanooga. And I met some of those guys, and I was sitting, and when I was in the finance committee, and I was sitting next to Senator Knapp, my friend from Oak Ridge, and one of my best buddies in the legislature, and he was telling me that I looked on his calendar, I was just sort of looking at something, he said Volkswagen. I said, man, when are you meeting with Volkswagen? He said, today. I said, would you like to come? I said, heck yeah. He said, that's right, you're a VW man. And I said, yeah, I know. And they said, great, because none of us know anything about VWs.
Right.
And we talked. I mean, I ended up the whole conversation because Dr. Burchett was probably one of the greatest fly-by-the-seats. I don't think he was ever trained professionally, but he was a great engineer, and that 4-cylinder engine, air-cooled. I mean, it is the people's car. That's what Volkswagen stands for. And we talked a lot about the history of him and what went on after the Second World War and how that Porsche started in a little, actually a chicken coop, basically, in a place called Gmund, Austria, I believe, G-M-U-N-D, where the first Porsches came out. And then this just kind of, the lineage kind of went down from there, you know, and he created that motor. And it's a great design. It's very simple, 4 cylinders.
Right.
And that's the original motor in this car.
You just think Porsche, you think horsepower, though.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
But after the war, it was basically he took Porsche parts, Porsche engine, and basically souped them up. The old 1200cc motor.
Right.
And he souped them up and just did some cool stuff. But you know, that's all the original gauges, and that's the original. That's the original radio.
It's just an AM radio, though, eh?
Oh yeah, it's AM jam. Might even pick up. I don't know. Let's see if I can get something. Well, it's not going to pick up in here. There it is. Yeah. A little static.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and there again, I bought 3 radios to get my Sapphire to work. And the odd thing about that is, we tried white paint to get it to stick in there. Yeah. Never could. And a little trick for the trade, I used white shoe polish. And that is the white shoe polish I put in there, I guess 10 years ago, and it stayed.
Now, what's that handle down there on the side of the seat?
Right here?
No, down on the side of the seat. There's a little white handle down there.
Oh, down here?
Yeah.
Oh, that adjusts the seat back and forth.
Now, what are the 2 there next to the emergency brake?
Heat and for the floorboard, and heat for the dash.
Oh, wow.
It goes to heater boxes. The heater boxes, it basically just catches it's what air-cooled motor, and it just catches the airflow off the heated motor, and it uses the heat from the motor to.
It recycles it.
Those Germans are awesome. I mean, they don't waste anything. Everything is used, and it's.
Well, they don't do anything unless it makes something happen.
No
frills. No. That was always my problem with the Mercedes-Benz. Like, they didn't even get into. Oh wow!
Well, here's the back seat. Of course,
it's
just
cool.
You know, if you got kids over 4 years, of course now, no seat belts. Probably people would frown upon that. But it's fun in parades. Somebody can sit sideways and throw candy. But in the course of the wreck, these pieces right here got twisted up, and so I actually made these myself. It looks simple, but it was a couple of days to make both these accurately.
Was that plastic or metal?
No, that's metal. I bent the metal myself. Yeah, and I have a degree in technological adult education, so and PJ let me. You know, that probably.
What's that degree have to do with making metal parts?
Well, it's technically a shop degree.
Oh, okay.
You know, technological adult education.
I got you now.
But my professors, me, are watching. They still get ticked off. Don't say shop. This is not a shop. It's a lab. And I'm like, right. I'm not ashamed of being a shop major.
Right.
You know, if the political gig doesn't work out, I can still, you know, I can fix a lawnmower, I can mow, right. Or, you know, I can do whatever. I can weld and run a lathe or do whatever. But you know, this is.
Now, did it have? It looks like it's got a headliner in the top.
It does. It was, and we That's the way it came originally. You don't ever see them with those in there.
Right.
And this top is an engineering marvel. It is I've read articles about it. It took, in the factory in Germany, I believe it would take a man 2 days to construct it.
Oh, wow.
One guy would do it, and he would put it all together. And Karmann was is the coach work. Oddly enough, Ghia was the designer. Most cars, they would say Ghia Karmann. They would use the designer first. Ghia's out of Italy.
Right.
Karmann, of course, is the body manufacturer. But for some reason, they said Karmann Ghia. And
so these are like a body by Fisher in the U.S.
Yeah.
They were a coach car.
Yeah, they were a coach car, and they were, it's hand built. It's
right.
Obviously you couldn't. Well, now of course they can do all that with the electric welding and all that. But the it's a marvelous little car, and of course it doesn't have air conditioning. They made some you could add air conditioning. Some of them did it, but if you do that, it chokes the motor down so far.
I would think, yeah.
And people that drove them, they drove, the old show Get Smart.
Yeah.
And he rode seemed like he drove a Fiat in one, and then he did Austin Healey Sprite, not a Bug-Eye, but a Sprite. And in the later, I think in like 73 or 74, he drove a Karmann Ghia, because they made them from 1950, technically 56 to 74. Of course, 55 was the first year, but they don't really recognize that. So just
now it looks like it's got.
You snobs like myself understand that 55 was the first year, but this was they make this car factory has disc brakes, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's got big tires on it too for a little car like this.
Yeah, well, I don't know. They're
maybe it's so small it makes the tires look big.
Yeah, they're standard.
Yeah,
it's not and people soup them up, and there's quite a few of them still on the road. There's several sites that are just dedicated just to.
Yeah, no, there's a big following for these Karmann Ghias. Yeah,
I mean, people it's funny. I'm in parades, and people will come up to me and tell me about all the they had a Karmann Ghia. And I remember this one time, this person, who was rather large, came up to tell me about some of her exploits in a Karmann Ghia, and I thought, well, I don't know. I'll just go with what you say. It's not restored 100%. I've got a few more things left to do, of course, but it's always something. I mean, these windshield wipers, the arms are original, but of course these aren't the actual wipers. And I got about. I'd say it's always something with one. Once you get it restored, do you park it or do you drive it? I'd rather drive it.
Well, and even if you park them, they will break down sitting in a garage somewhere.
Go bad.
Yeah.
If you let them sit down. So anyway, I can't say enough about it. It's my first car, and of course, like I said, I'm still very close with my parents, even though they're not with me physically.
Sure.
But my mama and daddy, they sacrificed. Daddy fought in the Second World War. I mean, my sweet mama soloed an airplane during the Second World War, and she lost her brother a couple days after D-Day. One of those other prized possessions I have is a 48-star flag that was on his casket. He fought the Nazis, and of course, Daddy fought the Japanese. But they just made a lot of sacrifices for me. And
well, I would think
I wouldn't take $1 million. If somebody were to say, "I'll give you $1 million for it," honestly, I wouldn't take it.
Right.
It's not, money has never really been a big factor for me in my life, and this is my buddy Buck Cochran gave me that keychain. It's pretty cool. And I sent these gauges off to Palo Alto Gauges. I think they charged me about $500, but these are brand spanking new. I mean, they're my original gauges. You look at the serial numbers on the back and everything. They 1969, but I had them rebuilt. Everything on it works. The lights work. Everything.
How many miles is on it?
Well, currently there's 3,710.
Yeah.
So and that is, we had it set back to 0. Everything's gone through, motor, transmission, the brakes, everything's been. And this is basically almost a brand new car.
How long ago was it done?
Let's see. I think about 10 years ago is when we finished it.
Wow, it's holding up well.
But still, I've not done a few things on it. And that I need to do, and I'll get those done eventually. And these are going to be sort of bookends. If I ever get my 55 on the road, it's a coupe.
Right. Oh, really?
Yeah. They didn't start the convertible until I believe 1958. Those were really rare. But
But it seems like you see more convertibles than you see anything else.
Do what?
Seems like you see more convertibles, you know? I mean,
well,
to hear they're rare, that kind of surprised me because you see like...
they didn't make as many convertibles. But they didn't start making the convertible in '58, and then that year was a really limited year. Actually, 1969 is one of the bigger years that they made. But it was, like I say, it was a combination of all the good things from the older ones with the smaller tail lights, and then of course disc brakes are awesome. Drum brakes, you ever get a puddle of water, you'll know my old Harley Panhead had drum brakes on it. Man, if I got in the water, I was doing the Fred Flintstone. I had my feet down to stop it.
That's what you said. Muscle cars, when they used to come with manual brakes, you get one stop out of them, and after that, you were dragging your feet. You know.
Yeah, and single flat tires.
Right. Oh yeah.
You know, I just love it. I still need to get this. It's always something that I've got it. I just need to put it on, and I need to spend about another week on it really to get it back to. Get everything finished on it. I think it's missing an armrest over there. I've got it. And I've got a brand new steering wheel for it. PJ did that steering wheel. It looks awesome.
I was going to say, yeah, you don't need that. That steering wheel looks like it's in good shape. But no, the whole car looks like it's in good shape, though.
Yeah, I'll tell you something hard to find is the glove box is actually made out of the old fiber board. The reproductions are all this black plastic, which is fine. My 55 actually still has the original one in it too, which is odd. But you know, it just, like I said, it's my first car. And
how many owners has it had, do you know?
Let's see, I believe I'm the third owner.
Yeah?
Third owner. It was sold new here at Snyder Motors in Knoxville. And the original owner, I'm sorry, I am the second owner. So I bought it from the original owner. And I still got the ad in the old paper that when it came out, it's Karmann Ghia convertible, I think $1,275.
Like the classified ad?
Do what?
Like the classified ad where the guy was selling? Jeez,
right, I bought it, you know. And,
you knew you loved this car when it first hit the driveway then.
Oh, well, I'm sentimental like that. I mean, you know, I collect, I keep all everything. I've got I've just, you know, I've got, and I've made national news one time. Some kids broke into my warehouse about 5 times, and I finally staked it out and caught them and pulled my block on them and made national news on that. You can Google Burchett warehouse. Yeah. And you can let's watch the news reports. I was a little bit younger then, but and Daddy was still living, and Mom and Daddy were both still living. But you know, and I got it. And now I've got an alarm system and everything out there, so I'm in good shape there. But the you know, I just save everything.
Yeah.
I know I need to get rid of some of this stuff, and I will. I've actually started weeding out some of it. But you know what you do when you weed out? You sell some stuff.
Yeah.
Just a little more money to buy something.
That's else. A little more room.
A little more room. Yeah. Well, that room's just going to waste.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's exactly right. You think, well, I need to clean this out so I get a little more room, and then room for what? Yeah. Room for more air? No. Room for more stuff. You know.
There was a VW show in town years ago, and you know, I was a senator then, and I was a state senator, and I was I parked it in the park, and I just want to go. Daddy and I went to the bug show that they were having, and somebody said, "Man, you need to pull that thing in here and put it in the show. That's unbelievable." And I was like, well, I was in a parade that morning, had candy wrappers in it, so I just pulled it in, and then they judged it, and then I went home, and then they called me and said, "Hey, you coming to the awards? We'd like you to say something, as a senator to represent the area, whatever." Right. And I won second place. I couldn't believe it. I don't like entering into things because people think it's rigged.
I was getting ready to say you never know why you won. Was it the car?
Ticket. I always end up giving it to somebody because I don't want to think it's rigged. But it's a sweet car, and it's you don't see that many of them. Of course, black was not a.
It was originally baby blue though.
It was wait, no, I'm sorry. It was a desert tan, which was really yellow.
That's beautiful, yeah.
I'm sorry. But it was painted blue over the top of that when I got it.
Oh, okay.
And and of course these are bad. The nose is where you get punched, all of them. And this nose is original, and it is in great shape. And we got it. The serial numbers all match. There's, I believe, 3 or 4 places. You got a serial number plate inside the car, and you got serial plates on both doors, and then underneath the seat here is a stamping somewhere. Right there is a stamping.
Oh, okay.
Don't show over there. There's a rat's nest I've got to clean out. But That's the serial number.
Is that storage or is that? I guess that's what you use
well, some of them, the earlier ones had a. They put a battery under there.
Yeah.
And I seen all VWs they did, but they ended up occasionally get a fire because the seat springs would get that. So
short
anyway,
out.
It's as I said, I couldn't duplicate this if I wanted to. So.
Well, no, I mean you got all the memories in this car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it to my kids or I don't have any kids. I'll end up leaving it to one of my nephews or something, let them fight over it. But
right.
It's got a great history, and it deserves to be driven. And I drive it when we're not doing something on it.
Right. So you usually keep this at the house; it doesn't stay out here.
Yeah. Absolutely. TJ's doing a little work on it right now. It's county mayor.
Yeah.
Is a full-time job. State legislature was part-time, technically, but I spent full-time on it. But anyway, in black, of course. If you get one that's slick enough, and this right here is the only dent in it, you can barely see it. I remember where I was driving, and a walnut hit that. So we're going to try to get that, see if one of those paintless dent removers can pull that out. If not, I'm going to have to redo that.
I bet they can. Yeah, they do amazing things with that paintless dent removal.
Yeah. Yeah,
I had a door ding, and you wouldn't think, and they got it out, and you couldn't even tell it was there. And I'm particular about a car. Something
I want everybody needs to know: if you ever get a Karmann Ghia, the Karmann emblem is on the right side, and you'll see some of them they'll have them on both sides, and that's not original.
Well, it's inset into the fender too.
It's inset into the fender too. You can see the cut.
So if it's got it on this side over here, then those fenders aren't original either.
Yeah.
Wow.
Where they've bondoed it or whatever.
Oh,
you don't see it over there, but I've seen them like that, and people do all kinds of stuff on these. Of course, the early ones, the low lights, they call them, where the light was down here and it kind of grafted over into it, and this little breather code is, and people just think that's for looks, but it's actually an air vent. It actually but most of them there's a rat's nest or birds or something have nested in there, and that's where you end up with rust on the inside.
Does those vents run into the cabin or into the motor?
Yeah, they're into the cabin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, it all just circulates motor to the cabin.
It's a big system.
It's just,
You don't get no fumes that way?
Yeah, you get some fumes. That's another thing. If I was ever out on the town or whatever, I would always make sure to just have about a half a tank. You get above that, you get 3/4, and you get a little fumigation back in. Of course, it doesn't bother me, but some reason women don't like that.
They don't like the smell of gas.
They get nauseous and stuff, and and they go, "Is this thing safe to drive in?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's safe. It's just the way it is."
Huh.
I guess that's...
Brother, that is cool, man. I mean, the car's cool, but the story behind it is cool.
I remember when my buddy Connor Schultz did these seats, and he's an old biker guy. He's an old British motorcycle man, and he's cantankerous, but I love him. He did these seats for me, and he doesn't do this stuff anymore. I mean, he took real special care to do them right, the way they were originally. And I can remember when I had them done once before. I had I drove, and I remember driving away, and I was thinking, I reached back for the headrest, and I go, oh man, headrest. And I left them on the roof of the car. And I'd driven about a half a mile, and I pulled off the side of the road, and I looked up, and I got out, and they were both sitting still, and I guess it just wouldn't slide off the top or something. But anyway, and these, I believe 69 was the first year of the high back chairs, I believe. And of course, this was a $15 option, have a mirror.
Holy smokes. Who would spend that kind of money on that option, right?
Who would spend that kind of money on a mirror? It's a vanity mirror, so.
Yeah.
You can't imagine you going out dressed up in a car like this nowadays.
No.
I mean, if you don't have air conditioning, people are panicking, but I love it.
Yeah. Well, it's obvious. Yeah, it's you can see the compassion that you have for this automobile, and
it's, like I said, the car like this, you really don't own it. You just sort of maintain it for somebody else.
Right. Well, hopefully,
one of my nephews shares the same passion.
I was going to say, hopefully you're around for a long time because you're a cool guy. But the next person to get the car, hopefully they understand what it meant to you, and whether they're a Volkswagen fan or not, hopefully they have enough respect for you that they take care of the car. Because it's obvious by the time when you do get done with it, it's still going to be in good shape.
Yeah, well, it's funny when we go out. The first day I took it out was on Thanksgiving Day. It was cold. I was like, man, I'm gonna drive this thing anyway. I don't care. And I went over to my buddy's house. We were going over to have it was the day before Thanksgiving actually. And I remember pulling up at the stop sign, or stoplight, and somebody pulled up in a brand new Jaguar. You know, and they always look out over their nose, I guess, over it, and they looked out, and the guy gave me a thumbs up, and I thought, it's pretty cool.
That's cool, isn't it? That made you feel good about that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I guess that's it.
Well, brother, I cannot tell you how much, what a pleasure this has been.
Thanks,
you know what I'm
Scott.
saying?
I appreciate it. Maybe one day you can, if I'm not dead, maybe one day when I get my 55 finished, I'll let you check it out.
Well, I would like to check out some of your motorcycles too.
Yeah,
to be honest with you.
Cool.
Yeah,
I've got them under lock and key. I'm
yeah.
gonna start moving a few of them here pretty soon.
Well, we don't have to disclose the location of them.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't care.
But
I got security and everything. So.
now, you know, as politicians go, yeah, I mean, it's cool to find one that's down to earth. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate it.
Isn't afraid to share his mind and just be, you know, this is like an off-camera interview to me. You know what I'm saying? I got a feeling though, people in Knoxville are going to watch us and be like, "The county mayor, did you see that interview he did?"
They all know me. They all know me. I've got my name recognition's pretty high. Sometimes that's good. When you go cash a check, that's pretty good. They don't ask you for an ID, but no, I know a lot of folks in this community, and they've been very kind to me.
Well, I know this is going to sound cliche, but I voted for you. So I was one of the 85%.
You're a great American.
Great American. Tim, I appreciate it, brother.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you so much. It has been a pleasure. Been really fun shooting this interview.
Yes, sir.
Folks, there you go. The Knox County Mayor, Tim Burchett, and his Karmann Ghia, his very first car. How cool is that to find, you know, this is why I do it, because I love not just the cars, but I love the stories behind them. And when you find somebody that's as passionate about the car that they have, it's just a real pleasure to be able to bring that story to you. So anyways, hope you all have enjoyed it. Have a good day. See ya.